Hey everybody, welcome to the week 17 garden tour here at Reachin Reverie. It's a great one. Num-nums. Yes. Oh, those buns were little. Yummy, yummy. So I think we got the wrong bun size. Look at how tiny those are. I think we thought that these burgers were gonna shrink down just a little more. Oh my gosh, this is so huge. This is good. This is really good. Hey everybody, welcome to the week 17 garden tour here at Reachin Reverie. It is a beautiful day today. It's been only in the mid 80s and I love it. It's been kind of windy, a little overcast, just the most beautiful clouds in the sky. So let me show you a classic Alex mistake that I do just about every week in the garden. I always overwater this garden bed right here. Normally I set this timer for about 15 minutes and just let it go. And after the 15 minutes, it turns off. So I set this timer for about an hour and a half, and then I went to water the chicken area and the rest of the garden and somehow forgot about this. So this was on for about 5 times longer than it should have been on before I realized it. But I do this all the time. Overwatering, it's not a huge deal if you do it infrequently, but it can compact your soil and it's going to make your plant's roots harder to breathe, and it can cause problems if you do it a lot. So something to watch out for. I keep making this mistake. And the rest of this dog yard area, we have this planter for our umbrella and it's doing pretty good. My silvery sunproofs are getting a little bit of dried ends. It has been pretty hot, but everything else is just looking really good in this pot, really healthy. I did move my tomatillo and my little tomato plants to this area of the yard just because we ended up barbecuing today and I didn't want my plants right here to get damaged by the smoke and the heat of the barbecue. And I think this was a really nice call because with how hot it's been, this pomegranate tree and the pecan tree are going to help shade my tomatoes and tomatillos just a little bit. And I already see my spaghetti squash is doing just amazing in this location, so I feel like having the tomatoes and the tomatillos, they should be able to do pretty good in that spot as well. I really like how it just opens up the yard just a little bit more. Right, dogs? You guys got some more room to play in. Yeah. I also went ahead and moved my pot right here to this area. I pulled out the pumpkin that was growing over here. It just wasn't doing very well. It had been struggling for several weeks now, so it's gone. And I moved my acorn squash to where the pumpkin was planted. I have a couple other flowers, and my watermelon and nasturtium pot just got to get shifted over just a few feet. I actually really like the way this area looks. I feel like this gives a nice spot for my bell pepper plant, which has been flowering so much. I'm hoping that we'll get a couple of red bell peppers on this plant pretty soon. And then the tomato that was hanging off of this plant, I just propped up against the fence over here. And I am just gonna see what happens. I'm pretty sure the chickens are gonna be eating on it, but I didn't want it drifting over this way into our walking space. So I am just going to hope for the best. Good luck, little tomato plant. I have plenty of tomato plants that are already producing, so I figured I didn't really want to put too much effort into this one, so he just got propped up. So he has something to climb up, and hopefully those chickens won't be too hard on him. All right, girls. Hopefully we're giving these girls enough treats that they'll leave my garden alone. Get this, leftover from our barbecue today. The girls got the leftovers of our yellow watermelon, and that's all that's left of it. They love watermelon. Don't you, girls? They are beating the heat of this day by hanging out in the shade They have full tummies. They also got a burger because we dropped one of our burger patties on the ground and they absolutely loved it. These girls just love meat. What are y'all doing, girls? I'm just hanging out. Now this morning we did just record our video on how to trim the flight feathers on your chicken. So if you haven't seen that one already, it's really neat. You can go and watch that one, which is on our YouTube channel as well. Let's go check out this garden. It is pretty good. So here are my 3 really stunted black Hungarian jalapenos, and I'm not sure how much bigger these peppers are going to get. They've been on the plant for about 3 weeks now. I'm going to go ahead and pick those today. This garden bed is doing absolutely amazing this time of year. Now I'm going to be really raw with you. This is just after the middle of the day. It's still before evening, so you can see a lot of my peppers. The leaves are a little droopy. On the tomatoes, some of the leaves are curled. Stress is okay for your plants. It's not the end of the world. This is completely natural, and by this evening they're going to be perked right back up and really happy. It's been a really hot and a really dry summer out here, and it already is a desert that we live in, so it's usually hot and dry during the summer. But this summer has been especially hot and dry, so it's been a struggle to grow anything, and I'm really happy that we're getting as much production on these plants as we're getting. You can see right here, this is a flower on my eggplant that has been pollinated, and this flower bud is growing bigger every day, and pretty soon we're going to be able to see one of those Listata degandia eggplants poking out. It's going to be so good. Now my jalapenos, they're all flowering quite a bit. This is the brown jalapeno that gives me white flowers, and my black Hungarian jalapenos over here are just flowering so prolifically right now. So I'm hoping to get another really nice round of jalapenos coming in here. My albino bell peppers over here are doing really, really good. I think I'm going to pick these today though, because I can see all of these pepper plants are loaded with flowers, and some of those flowers have already been pollinated and are starting to turn into little tiny albino bell peppers. So I think if I take off these peppers that are already on here today, that's going to help my plants have that much more energy to put into the next round of peppers we're going to be getting. My favorite way to eat these albino bell peppers is chopped up and sauteed into some scrambled eggs with diced tomatoes. I think it's just really, really good. So guys, I think that today is finally the day that I'm going to pick this tiny butternut squash. You can see by looking at the stem that the stem is already yellowing and starting to dry. So I don't think that this butternut squash is going to get any bigger than this. Is this not the cutest butternut squash you've ever seen? Hopefully we'll have just a little bit more luck next year growing butternut squash. Now the most bountiful and the happiest and the healthiest plants by far in my garden this year have been my Blue Beauty tomato plants. I just can't fathom not growing this variety in years to come, because look at that. One, it's a gorgeous tomato. It's a very sweet, meaty tomato. It doesn't have a lot of gel or a lot of seeds compared to some other tomatoes, and it has just thrived in this hot, really crazy, deserty, dry summer that we've had. These Blue Beauty tomatoes have been extremely prolific in my raised garden beds. Just look at how many tomatoes are on this single plant. And I've probably already harvested about 10 tomatoes off the bottom half of this plant. And then we still have, if we start at 10, let's say 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And then the top is full of flowers and new rounds of tomatoes. So we have about 17 tomatoes off of this plant in the first half of summer. It is July 26th. I have about 2.5 more months of getting tomatoes off of these plants, hopefully. And this one tomato plant has already given me almost 20 fruit. And I have 6 plants in this garden bed. So we've gotten so many tomatoes this season. I'm definitely gonna grow the Blue Beauty next season too. I think I said this in a previous video. When it comes to harvesting your tomatoes, you can harvest them when they're still green. Like if they have some red to them, but they're not like bright juicy red, you can go ahead and harvest them, and most of the time after 2 or 3 days they will ripen on the counter. Now if you throw your tomatoes in the fridge, that will halt development of your tomato. It'll shock the flavor. So the best tasting tomatoes are going to be the ones sitting out at room temperature. So when I collect my tomatoes, I just sit them on the counter and I eat them within 2 or 3 days, and they are absolutely wonderful. The tomatoes that are sitting out on your counter at room temperature, they're going to continue to develop, they're going to continue to ripen, and they are going to be packed full of sugar and flavor. Now the best time to harvest your tomatoes is going to be in the middle of the day, the heat of the day. That's when they're going to taste the best. I don't ever harvest my tomatoes right after I water heavily. I think that dilutes the flavor just a little bit. And I also try to harvest them before I think we're going to get any heavy rains, so that they don't, 1, crack, and 2, I don't want it to dilute the flavor right before I pick my tomatoes. I'm going to pick some tomatoes. No! I dropped it. I don't think this one got that much sun. He's not very blue, is he? All right, so done picking tomatoes for today. So yeah, you can see some of these are not super bright red, but sitting on the counter for a day or two, they'll be just as red as this one. And like this one is still really pretty. I might fry him up and make a fried green tomato, but if I sit him out, he'd be a really nice tomato on a sandwich in a couple days. Look at that one's shoulders, that's gorgeous. I really love this variety of tomato. I got these Blue Beauty tomatoes from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. It's a pretty cool seed company. I got almost all of my seeds from Baker Creek, and I've been really happy with, I think, this seed over anything else I grew this year. The Blue Beauty tomato has just taken the cake there. As for this front garden bed, I haven't really put much effort into it at all this week, and it kind of shows. I've still been watering it. I'm not trying to be cruel to it. I haven't just completely forgotten about it, but I have reduced watering, and I've reduced my like pruning that I do to them and just general care, because I know that everything in this bed is going to be coming out probably at the end of this week or next week. But I'm generally overall just kind of mentally preparing to empty out this garden bed, and we're going to amend it. I'm going to add some fresh compost. We're going to till it all in, amend the soil really well, and get it ready for the fall garden that I'm going to be planting here in the next couple weeks. I want to plant some brassicas and some root vegetables, and generally plants that are going to do better in the cool weather that are coming in the months coming up. Now, these ground cherries have just about had it this year. I have tried keeping them nice and watered after the heat of the day. I've tried fertilizing them. I've tried just leaving them be. I've kept pruning them because they're getting a lot of really ugliness to them. So I've been keeping them really well pruned, and they just, I think they're done. This summer's been a really hard, dry, hot, hardly any rain summer. And then of course when we do get rain, it's just battered, heavy, usually including hail. We almost always have wind damage or hail damage every time we get rain here. So we've been just keeping up. Now I came out here yesterday and just laughed. I didn't know what else to do. This was my beautiful okra plant, and it had just decided to spontaneously drop all of its leaves in about a 12-hour period. So something is stressing it out super badly. And the only thing I can think of is that we've been having cooler weather the past couple days, and okra just loves hot weather. So I don't know. It decided it didn't want, I don't know, it's not happy right now. You tell me, has this ever happened to your okra plant where it just loses almost all of its leaves? Now about 2 days ago I harvested 3 okra off of this plant, and I've been getting about 2 to 3 okra a week off of it. And I don't know what happened. I turned around, I watered it in the morning, came out in the evening, and all of its leaves were sitting in the bottom of this pot. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And as we come over here, I didn't want to forget to show you my Art Combs Ancient Watermelon. He is getting bigger every single week. I feel like this thing is getting huge. I don't know how big it's gonna get. I know Art Combs Ancient Watermelon can get up to 20 pounds, but I'm kind of afraid that since I grew it in a pot this year, it might just get a little bit smaller than that. But we are gonna eat this towards the end of this season, and I'm just getting so impatient because we get watermelon. We probably eat about 2 watermelons a week here, and I have 2 tiny little watermelons growing. So we've been buying store-bought watermelon all summer long, and every time I come and look at this, I'm just like, you better be good, little watermelon, you better be good. I'm sure he'll be really great. Just get big and strong because we really want to eat you, little guy. Stay tuned for that. Now my cucamelons over here, you can see there's quite a few little ones all over here. I am kind of sad though, because it seems like right as they are almost ready to pick, the birds, like sparrows, wild birds, get to them. So this whole season, as prolific as these plants are, I've eaten 1 cucamelon. And it was so good, but it was about the size of a dime. So as you can imagine, it left me wanting more. I was really expecting that this season we would make a lot of like cucumber lemonade and have cucumbers in our salads and just fresh cucumber. But for whatever reason, the sparrows that we have living around us just go crazy. They go nuts for cucamelons. So next year if we grow cucamelons, we're gonna have to find some way to protect them from the wild birds. Oh my love, you look like you're enjoying this cool afternoon. You like it, huh? This is so much better. 85, we'll take 85 over 110, huh? Any day. Look at that, you are just loving life right now, sitting in the shade, enjoying that breeze. Yeah. Hey Dyson, what you doing? You ready to go inside, huh? You want to go inside? No, not really, huh? Usually he just runs to the door if it's a yes. You stretching? What time you think it is? It's too hot. We're gonna go later. He wants to go on a WALK. We'll go later, bud. We'll gotta wait till it's even cooler. I bet it'll be really nice at sunset. What do you think, Evie? You're like dozing off over here. She got a little bit of some grilled sausage today that we dropped on the floor. So she's got a tummy full of sausage. You're gonna eat your dinner tonight? Did I spoil it? Are you gonna eat your dinner still? Yeah, you'll think about it, huh? She says, if you give me some burgers and sausage, I'll eat any dinner you give me. I'll think about it. Alright. You happy, dog? Yeah, you're pretty. You gonna roll in the grass? You gonna roll? You look like you're about to roll. How did I know you were gonna lay in the grass? How did I know? It's nice and cool, huh? You guys love when it's nice and cool like this, don't you? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. This is why we don't have any grass, you guys. I swear, I tried. I planted grass seed, I water. That's why, right here. And last but not least, I did want to show you guys this pomegranate tree. It's full of pomegranates. We are really excited for the harvest we're going to get this year on pomegranates. They are just everywhere. That's going to be really exciting. Oh, I got chickens underfoot. What are you girls doing? Well, thank you guys so much for joining me again on this week 17 garden tour here at Reachin Reverie. I absolutely love sharing my garden with you guys, and there's going to be so many changes in the coming weeks. I really want y'all guys to stay tuned, hang in there, and we're going to see some cool stuff coming up. Oh, almost stepped on my chickens. They just are, look at this. Can hardly walk around out here. But thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.